Ooh.
Oof.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome back. This is the Bread and Wine Podcast. Once again, this is the Bread and Wine Podcast. Just like a pimp named Slickback, just like a Tribe Called Quest, you have got to say the entire thing. Lechem Weyain. The Bread and Wine Podcast. With one of your hosts, Yahuka said, and
Kaleb.
Ben Yasharal. Yeah, this is the Bread and Wine Podcast. So, today, we're talking about Nassim Black. Is that his name?
Well, we'll start off with that and then just kind of let the conversation go.
Y'all know who that is?
And Nassim Black and our good friend Sam Shimon.
All right, so story time. We were on I guess, in terms of the panel that one time that when God Logic was up there with Sam Shimon, and they were asking us. Well, we wanted to talk about the church fathers. What was it we wanted to talk
Sam Shimon wanted to talk about the church fathers. He got mad because everybody he talked to
didn't want to talk about the church fathers.
He wanted to talk about the church fathers. Everybody else wanted to talk about scripture. He was like, okay, well, now all of a sudden we want to talk about the church fathers. Everybody want to talk about scripture. So we get up there, we state our belief, and they asked us. Now, technically, God Logic didn't do anything. He just sat there and looked.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because our beliefs actually match what the church fathers say, he wanted to instead critique our beliefs. Now, here's the thing. For those people who don't know me personally, I'm a cool guy, right? But there's certain things you just can't do with me and think I'm going to have a nice, calm conversation with you. It's just not going to happen. And I did lose my cool with Sam Shimon. Because number one, he kept asking the same question over and over and over after we answered it.
I do that sometimes. I'm not going to lie to you. If I don't get the answer that I'm looking for, I kind of.
But that's the problem. Again. That's the problem.
I do that. I have to accept responsibility. I do that.
But that's the problem. He wanted a specific answer from us.
Yeah.
And he was essentially going to keep asking until we gave him the answer. But we answered the question. And keep in mind, the question he asked was a yes or no question.
I forgot what the question was.
It was something, either it was the Ruach a person, or it was something like that. But we answered the question multiple times. We said yes several times, right? Now, at first we were given exposition, and I don't know, if I give exposition to an open-ended question or a closed question like that, I'm assuming that you can tell that the answer is yes or no. That's me. But eventually, the both of us stopped doing that and just said yes. He kept asking the question. Stop asking me the same question 20 times. But another thing a lot of people who don't know about me is, let's put that down for the second. A lot of people don't know I have basically no tolerance for intentional and deliberate foolishness. I also have no tolerance for things being unfair and you thinking that because you have a view that is correct, that you feel is correct, that you can just treat people any kind of way, and that now means that you don't have to follow decorum and those things. So Sam Shimon essentially said, right, what happened was we both were talking. Now, keep in mind, he cut me off multiple times while we were speaking. But, of course, he cuts me off. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to cut you off, too. Well, he didn't like that I cut him off. So I was quiet. I let him talk. And then I responded, and he cut me off. I said, hey, you just asked me not to cut you off. Right? So I kept talking. He did it again. I said, again, you just asked me not to cut you off. And he just kept talking like I was like, are you telling me the rules are different for me than for you? He actually, with a straight face, said, yeah, the rules are different for me than for you. I said, okay, well, I'm out of here. At that point, the conversation doesn't matter anymore. I don't care what we're talking about. You're not going to tell me. Who do you think you are?
I think got upset.
Who do you think you are that you can tell me that you're going to cut me off and I have to respect you? You don't have to respect me, but I got to respect you. Who do you think I am? Who do you think anybody is? Who do you think you are that you have the authority to tell me I must accept disrespect from you, but I got to respect you? You crazy? I immediately said, I'm out of here. See you later.
He did.
and hung up.
I was still there.
Yeah, he stayed. I don't know why he stayed, but yeah, you're not that. I would. You cannot tell me I have to accept disrespect from you, but you have a right to disrespect me. No, sir, that's not happening. So I already didn't like Sam Shimon. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like him from the jump. He's very rude. I've seen him say things about people's mothers.
Now this was so. Just to give some preface, this was so we had logged on through God Logic's live stream.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk to God Logic because I had a conversation with him before.
Yeah,
and it was a pretty good talk.
Yeah, so that was the main thing. The main thing was really to talk to God Logic based upon the conversation that him and God Logic had. Oh man, I can't remember how long ago that was.
But yeah. So, peace and shalom, brother. And again, I'll come a little bit more prepared next time. Too. Sure. I didn't even think you were gonna call me, but that's cool.
Yeah, take care, man. Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate the conversation. All right, that's Kaleb, everybody. All right, so I have to say that Kaleb was by far, and if anybody says otherwise, then you're just a hater. He was by far the best guest that we had, right? I mean, we were able to go through scripture. He was able to, concede some things. Yes, we debated, but that's what we do here. But he was cool. That was the best. That was the best guess. It was an interesting biblical conversation, right? So I liked it, man. He had some sense.
But to add one other thing, I tried getting on God because God Logic told me at the end of the conversation, and this is all recorded, by the way. You can go on their channels and see it.
Yeah, it is. It is.
God Logic told me because he had to talk to his girlfriend. He had to talk to his fiance. Right. I don't know if they're married now.
Yeah, they're married now.
Okay, so his wife. So of course I get it. Hey man, you want to talk to me more, but you got to talk to your gay. Take care of your business. I got you, brother. But he told me I can come back.
And he even said that he said that was a really good conversation that he had with Kaleb.
Again, this is all recorded.
It's all recorded.
So I go up there the next time. It was a Monday. And he saw me. He said he was going in order. Okay, cool, no problem. I do find that a little peculiar because the time I spoke to him, I showed up late. I showed up randomly. Right? But he said he's going in order. Okay, cool, no problem. So you're going in order. You don't pick me. This man right here pays money. Mm-hmm. And super chat so that he can say, put up Kaleb, the guy with the Hebrew name.
Let me see here. Get Kaleb on the panel, please. Kaleb can come next time if he's here. I don't know if he's. Okay, I see the Hebrew name. Okay. Kaleb, my bad, bro. Come on Wednesday. Come on Wednesday.
He says, okay, well, he can come back Wednesday. Now, keep in mind, he said he can come back Wednesday. My name is in Hebrew. I get there Wednesday. I'm only talking to Muslims.
Only. And he already knew that.
Okay.
Because he does the same thing. He has the same schedule.
As you guys see, the link says Muslims only. So, inviting the Muslims up to come on up and engage. As you guys can see, the sign behind me says Muslims only. So, you guys can't miss it. It's not only on the screen, but it's also in the link. Before you hit the link, it says Muslims only before you hit it. So, there should be no reason why any non-Muslims should come up.
Yeah, you know that.
So yeah, I'm only talking to Muslims. Okay, cool. I go there Friday. On Friday, people are in his chat literally saying, let Kaleb go. He's been here since Monday. Let him talk.
Other people, not even me.
Yeah, other people in our chat. He doesn't pick me. Now, what does happen is at the end, a guy gets up there and he doesn't understand anything. So God Logic spends a lot of time trying to talk to him to get him to understand the faith. I get that. Then at the end of that, he says, all right, guys, we'll see you later. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, I done tried 3 times. I'm not going to keep doing this. Right? Then he comes up and he's like, hey, Sam Shimon and God Logic are live. I said, because we have a private chat for the podcast, and that's all 5 of us, not just me and him. Yes, there is others.
You can check us out on Spotify. We on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
We were earlier and everything when we were just, without the video and the visuals and everything like that, it was all 5 of us that was there,
Yeah.
they still around,
They're still here. They still good.
Family is family, life.
Yeah, life is life.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, Sam Shimon. So I said, before we even went up there, I said, listen, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't like Sam Shimon because Sam Shimon is rude. He can get real nasty real fast. And then on top of that, he rambles a lot. Like if you ask Sam Shimon a question, he'll talk and he will drag that thing out. Sometimes you're like, dude, just get to the point. And then when you start talking, like I said, he'll cut you off. He'll call your mother a whore. Like he'll get real disrespectful real fast. Like I don't want to talk to this man. Like I don't. So.
Got the bread and wine. Oh, let's do this. The bread and wine. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, man? You reject the Trinity?
Well, first thing, in terms of the Bread and Wine podcast, there's another member that's actually in the back channel as well. I wanted to bring him up, and if possible, we can have a discussion concerning it.
Who?
The Hebrew guy, Kaleb ben Yasharal.
Oh, here we go. All right.
His name is written in the Hebrew.
Oh, his name is written in Hebrew.
Yes, sir.
You want him up to
He
come up with
needs back up, so bring him up if you want.
Sure. Okay, so you guys are you guys Hebrew Israelites?
Something like that.
Yeah, not necessarily, but people could assume the position based upon certain things that we say.
Okay. All right.
What do you
So
say?
even if you watch when I talk to him versus when I talk to God Lodge, it's a totally different demeanor from the start because I really did not want to talk to Sam Shimon. And then, of course, me, I'm the type of person, once I realize what you're doing, I don't like it. It doesn't help that you also gave a different answer than I gave.
For what answer?
When he asked asked you something, it was the very first question he asked you because I got fed up early. And
No, the question.
Yeah.
He would say you can answer for your friend. I said, well, you didn't give him.
No. That was afterwards. I'm talking at the very beginning. So at the very beginning, I started talking. Sam Shimon again, he cut me off.
I forgot what answer that was.
Yeah, he's cutting me off real quick, and I can barely talk. And there's a point where I take a pause, and I'm like, Yehuka said, and you can hear my voice. It's shaking a little bit because I'm already getting mad because I really just don't like this man. I really don't want to talk to him. I just do not like him. So I'm like, Yehuka said, and then he starts talking, and then he says something. I know what he means, but it sounds like he contradicted me. So what does Sam Shimon do? I'm going to pit you two against each other. No, you're not pitting us against each other because we have these conversations all the time. I know what he means. He knows what I means. But I also know that a person listening who doesn't have these conversations that we have in private probably is not going to catch on to what we're saying, right? But that's when Sam Shimon started going. And then, of course, we're answering questions, but he doesn't like the answers we're giving. So that's when I said to him, I outright said, no, we are answering your questions. You don't like the answers you're getting. I told him that because that's the truth. But yeah, when he told me that whole thing about I can cut you off, but you can't cut me off, see you later.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
But anyway,
That's the lore of us and Sam Shimon. And yeah, I still don't like the man. I'm just,
there was a lot. Put it like this: there was a lot to learn. I would say for me personally, from that particular conversation. I was told that I did not know how to answer questions, and so I took responsibility and I learned. I learned how to answer questions, and and I have also learned people in general do not know how to answer questions. So it was a learning experience, and I'm definitely grateful for it.
I've learned that I can't talk to rude people. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
I can talk to rude people.
I can't do it.
I can talk to rude people because I in a sense I can ignore you. I can ignore what you're saying and just focus on like back on the point to where I was at, and then basically like, okay, so you clearly didn't answer my question. Like I can easily just go back to that, even if you saying this that other. But anyway, that's not why we're here.
Yeah. I can't do that.
That was that was just a preface.
I just want to say one thing. I can't do that because generally rude people are playing games. Most people that like the reason why I can't talk to people on TikTok the way you do,
I play Call of Duty.
it's because
I play 2K.
stop that. I play Street Fighter, and even with Street Fighter, you can't just do stuff like that, man.
In Call of Duty, you can do anything you want. In 2K, you can do anything you want. I know how to play games. We want to play games, we can play games. Online, multiplayer, solo.
If I want to play a game, I'm going to bring out the Switch. If I'm talking to somebody about the word, I'm trying to reason with you. I want to reason the word. I'm not sitting here. I'm not here to play games, and now I got to try to maneuver around how you're talking about things. And no, I'm not doing that foolishness. That's a waste of time.
It is a waste of time.
It's a complete waste of time.
Sometimes you got to.
No, you ain't got to do nothing.
You're right. You're right. In your case, you just gotta move and just. I'm out. Peace.
Yeah, I'm not doing that foolishness.
Yeah, I stay a little bit. I stay. I have learned. I would say now to definitely move on because man, some doctrines is just getting. It's just getting wild. It's just getting crazy. It's going totally left, and people aren't catching on to it. People not catching on to it, and they're just agreeing with it and have no entire idea that they're agreeing with it. I will still to this day. I had respect. I had respect for this individual because I thought, like, this individual was saying, like, they're supposed to be ordained to be a minister at a certain time and everything like that, but they end up not doing it for some odd reason or something like that. But when they said this statement, I was like, I had so much respect for you. Now I have lost all of that. I have lost all of it.
What they say?
They said, we don't need to listen to God. We need to listen to Jesus. But you say Jesus is God. How that logic work? First of all, you said, I get what you're saying. You said,
I don't.
You saying we don't need to listen to the Father. We need to listen to the Son.
I don't get that either.
That's what you try to say. But with the same breath, you'll say Jesus is God. With the same breath, you'll say Jesus is the one that gave us the Old Testament. With the same breath. But we ain't got to listen to that. We ain't got to listen to the Old Testament guy. We got to listen to the New Testament one. That's that nonsense.
I'm trying to figure out where it was too. Okay.
Anyway,
what were we talking about with
my bad.
with Nassim Black and our good friend?
You got kind of
Our good friend Sam Shimon,
I'm just trying to say, man.
who will be tagged in this video. Go ahead.
We gonna tag God Logic too.
I mean, I want smoke.
It ain't about smoke like that. It's more so of, bro, you said come back Monday. Wait, come back Wednesday.
Yeah.
On Monday, when you said, hey, the next stream I have, we're gonna have a conversation. You even said,
Oh, hold on.
hold on. I'm not done.
Okay, go.
You even
Did you hit my hand?
I did. It was a reflex.
Yeah, don't do that no more.
You even said this was one of the best conversations you've had in a long time.
And it was a good conversation.
It was, and everybody on your stream agreed with it. But then not to have it again, like to, in a sense, avoid it.
But here's the thing. Here's the kicker.
I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying what it looked like.
After the Sam Shimon thing, right? This guy, he has a tendency sometimes to jump the gun, right?
Jump the gizon.
Yeah. So he immediately goes talk to what's the guy? JP.
I hit up JP on cut. I'm in the
Kaleb wants to have a debate with Sam Shimon. I never said I want to have I didn't want to have a debate with Sam Shimon.
Did I say that?
Yeah. You said Sam. No, you said Sam Shimon. But then eventually you changed to God Logic, and you said yeah. And God Logic even said this is one of the best conversations he's had. And he took a video that we had with
Albert.
Albert
on
right.
What's Albert's page again?
Book of Life TV.
Book of Life TV.
He took one of those videos.
He's back on now.
Yeah, he talks to Muslims now. Yeah. shout out to Albert, took one of those videos and sent it to him, to JP Uncut, right? Like, hey, look, this is Kaleb. Somehow, some way, a screenshot of me from Albert's talk,
From a different video.
ends up as the thumbnail on God Logic's picture, talking about the Trinity is false, I'm out. That's not how that conversation went. Now I get clickbait. I get YouTube. I get, okay, he's trying to make a clickbait title so that way he can get people views so they can see, oh, this guy just said the Trinity's false, I'm out. Cool, let me click on it.
But he never said the Trinity was false, so technically that's a lie.
Well, I said we don't believe in the Trinity.
But
And obviously I do believe it's false.
okay, well, never mind. I tried to help you out.
No, because that's not the issue. The issue is
the image.
he got a picture from a video
He had to go
that
through
he sent him for me,
No, it was a different video.
for that you sent to him.
Yes, it wasn't the same vid. It wasn't the same video.
So he watched another video from Albert's channel.
yes, it was a different video.
Didn't give Albert a shout out at all. Right? So he took this screenshot from his video, did not give him a shout out, used the image. And the image was not at the beginning, by the way. So that in order for him to get that image, he had to have watched the video. He had to, or at least clicked around,
Well, somebody did.
or somebody did it.
Somebody did and send it to him.
So I'm like, okay. Because even when I first watched, I was like, wait a minute. When I talked to God Logic, the lights were on. And when I used to talk to Albert, the lights were off. I said, okay. All right, I see the game here. So, of course, I don't really use TikTok. But if you follow me on TikTok and you wonder where that picture is from, yes, that is the same picture I ripped from God Logic's. I mean, listen, some games in fact, you should use that as the thumbnail. That same picture, use that as the thumbnail for this video. And I'm not mad. Like, I'm not mad about it. I'm not even mad about them clipping it. It is what it is. Again, I get the internet game. So clickbait thumbnails and clickbait titles, I
You
get
gonna
it.
put up there, God Logic and Sam Shimon didn't want no smoke, so
Like, I get it. I'm not mad. Again, and even with my issues with Sam Shimon, that I already didn't like him, but I don't like him because of how he comes off, not because he just it's how he comes off. I don't like that.
It's just character.
Yeah.
Right. It's
At least what he portrays online, because maybe in person he might be a great dude. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
But-
impressions is
but,
everything.
yeah, I'm going based on what I see and what I've
Internet impression,
experienced.
how you portray yourself, like that's a big, huge thing. Like, people don't know you for the most part at all. Let's just say you have like 37,000 followers. Not all 37,000 followers, or most likely have more than that. But I'm just giving just a random number. They don't all know you outside of YouTube, outside of social media. Most of those people that are your subscribers, they know you because of social media.
Yeah.
How you portray yourself on social media is how you are portrayed. So when, let's just say, you're given a particular doctrine or a certain thing, and let's just say it's false, but you have like over 100,000 people, you just gave false doctrine to over 100,000 people. And Elohim's gonna look at that like, this is what you did. But you're like, oh, that's just the internet. Yeah, and everyone saw it. Everyone heard it.
And we got to think about it too, because a lot of
received it.
people might look at Sam Shimon, but it's not like Hebrew Israelites don't do the same thing.
No,
Black Hebrew
yeah.
Israelites.
I do not. This, like I said, the whole entire point of this podcast was not, or this episode, I would say, was not about this. We were I just saw something that Nassim Black had something concerning Sam Shimon. I told Kaleb, like, dang, Nassim Black said something about son.
And what's interesting is the podcast that Sam Shimon is on, that's the guy who ran the business conference that I went to. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. It's full circle moment in a way, because I went to that guy's business conference, and I actually have a business consultant through his company, Patrick Bet David. So, like I said, it's a circle. Just kind of shows how small the world is. And here's the thing. If Sam Shimon would have a conversation where he wasn't insulting, he's not talking about people's mother, he's not cutting people off all crazy, and he's not going on these long tangents where sometimes it's hard to follow him because he's just talking and talking and talking. It's just like, dude, I need you to get to the point. I would be willing to have some level of conversation with him. But as it stands right now, I can't talk to the man again. I can't do it. Again, it's nothing personal. When I say I don't like him, it's not like a personal dislike. Like if I see him on the street, I'm gonna kick him or something. I'm not saying that like this, but just the way he portrays himself, I don't like him.
Don't like his character.
Yeah.
That's a faulty character.
But back to Nassim Black talking about our friend Sam Shimon.
Yeah. So, Nassim Black had posted a video saying that. Oh, for those who don't know who Nassim Black is basically a black dude.
A black Hasidic Jew.
What?
A black Hasidic Jew.
So what's an Hasidic Jew for those that do not know?
Hasidic Jew. It's a sect of Judaism. It's actually a very modern sect. They're the ones that wear the black hats and the long coat. So when y'all say things about Jewish people and you point all Jewish people as that, no, that's a specific sect. That's the Hasidic Jews.
They always wear the black suits.
Yeah, the black suits and the black hats, and
Black
that's
suits,
them.
black hats, white collared shirts. Got the white zitzit, or basically Gadol, but they call them zitzit. And they also wear the big huge top fur hats.
Yeah.
They also wear those as well, like the circular joint. Yeah, they wear those as well. So he's a part of that particular sect of Judaism, and he also does music. Like he was.
Oh yeah, he's a rapper.
Yeah, he was really known for his music, being in that genre, that particular area. So he had a video that was basically saying, Sam Shimon was saying that Yahuwah is the Elohim of all the nations, not just Israel. And so Nassim Black was saying, well, that's not true. Here we go.
It depends on the context.
Okay. Let's bring it up.
There is a context in which Sam Shimon is correct. There is a context in which Nassim Black is correct. I will agree that there are things that Sam Shimon said that are inaccurate. But Nassim Black did accuse him of saying things that were not in the Bible. And then when it came down to Jonah, Nassim Black basically gave a whole dissertation about Jonah that is not in the Bible at all. So I find it interesting that he criticized Sam Shimon's point and then proceeded to do the same thing. Now, everything else I saw in that video, the video I saw was about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, because you showed it to me. Everything else I was saying, Nassim Black was correct on, again, based on perspective, because a lot of this is perspective. But Sam Shimon did take a lot of things out of context. It's not that what Sam Shimon brought out wasn't in the Bible. It's that the way he said it and the way he framed it is not in the Bible, right? Nassim Black was the other way around. The things he was saying and the way it's framed is in the Bible, but then sometimes he added some of that Jewish interpretation into it that's not there. So they both kind of did the same thing.
So yes, like Yahuwah is the Elohim of Israel. Exodus 34:23. 3 times in a year, all your men are to appear before the Master Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel, or Yashar Yisrael. So now we do also see, when we go to Deuteronomy, that there are other Elohim that are over the nations. Was that Deuteronomy? That's not 28.
Well, it's 38, 8, and 9, or 32, 8, and 9. But you have to be looking at specific versions. So you have to be looking at, if you have the ESV says sons of Elohim because it uses older text. The Tanakh Old Testament that we have is generally translated from what's called the Masoretic text, which is a text family. So it's not one group of text. It's a text family. So that has a certain tradition attached to it.
Septuagint.
Yeah, so you want to go to the Septuagint, you want to go to the Dead Sea Scrolls, older texts like that have different traditions or that are just different text families or different and located in different areas. That's what you want to go to see this in Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9, where it essentially says that.
Read it.
Go ahead.
Okay. So when the Most High divided the nations, now this is the Song of Moses, right? When the Most High divided the nations, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the boundaries of the nations according to the number of the angels of Elohim.
That's the LXX.
Right, that's the LXX. And his people, Jacob, became the portion of Yahuwah. Israel was the line of his inheritance.
Read verse 9 for me really fast, and there's a reason why.
And his people, Jacob, became the portion of
I'm sorry,
Yahuwah.
read verse 10.
Oh, sorry. Israel was his line of his inheritance. He maintained him, Israel, Jacob, in the wilderness and burning thirst and in a dry land. He led him about and instructed him and kept him as an apple of his eye.
Okay.
Or the apple of an eye.
So even there, the Masoretic text differs a little bit, but 8 and 9 has a whole lot of different interpretations behind it, depending on who you ask. What we're going to go with for now is that 8 and 9, based on the oldest text and the oldest traditions, is talking about dividing the Most High, dividing the nations up, and then essentially assigning them to other mighty beings, right? Whether you want to call them mighty ones, Elohim, gods, angels, whatever term you want to use. But he created Israel for himself. That's what we're going to go with. We're not going to discuss the other interpretations or debate them right now. The reason why that's important is because we do see that he does say that all nations are his, right? So he says that in Exodus 19 when he says, all the earth is mine.
All the earth is mine. But you're going to be a set apart.
But you're going to be a set apart nation
Matter of
to
fact,
me.
Let me go read it real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Exodus 19. Let me see.
I want to say it's like 5 through 8. It might be 4.
Yeah. Starting at verse 3. Exodus 19 and 3. And Moses went up to Elohim, and Yahuwah called from him from the mountain, saying, This is what you are to say to the house of Jacob, and declare to the children of Yasharal, or Israel. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, how I bore you up on eagle's wings, how I brought you to myself. And now, if you diligently obey my voice, and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be a treasured possession above all peoples, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a reign of priests and a set-apart nation. Those are the words which you are to speak to the children of Israel, Yasharal.
So can you go to
Septuagint?
no, not Septuagint. Go to Psalms 82 for me.
I'm already there. I'm in the Septuagint.
It's not going to be the right psalm.
So which version you want for this one?
You can use the Masoretic because you got to remember the Septuagint after a certain number actually misnumbers the psalms.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to go to 82 in the Masoretic.
All right. I'm in the Psalms 82 in the ESV.
Okay.
Elohim has taken his place in the divine council. In the midst of the gods, or the Elohim, he holds judgment. How long will you judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Give justice to the weak and the fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hand of the wicked. They have neither knowledge nor understanding. They walk about in darkness.
Go ahead.
All the foundations of the earth are shaken.
Pause. So we understand that first Elohim who's giving judgment is Yahuwah.
Mm-hmm.
So the other ones are
The B'nai Elohim, the
Okay.
messengers of Elohim, the sons of Elohim, or the angels of Elohim.
okay, cool. Notice that in that position, the Most High is giving judgment
To who?
to the other Elohim in this case, right?
Doesn't he say that I'm going to judge the...
Yeah, he says that in Exodus with Egypt. He says he was
Judge
passing
the
judgment
Elohim
on the
of
gods of Egypt, right?
Interesting. Is he judging wood and stone? Anyway.
So, but then also, even if we go to Sodom and Gomorrah,
Yeah.
right? Sodom and Gomorrah was not Israel.
No, it wasn't.
He blew them up, no problem. So the relationship that the Most High has with the other nations and what he has with Israel is different. And that's the thing that I think, that's where I think the disconnect was between them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, yes, Sam Shimon said some things that were inaccurate, but just dealing first with the disconnect. Sam Shimon is accurate that the Most High, number one, does not want to, because he did say Yah doesn't want to destroy people, right? He wants them to repent. That is true.
That is very true.
Ezekiel says that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He would much rather, and then we see that in Jonah, which is the story that they brought up.
We see that in Jeremiah.
And in Jeremiah, like
whatever judgment he declares upon that nation, if that nation will turn from that judgment that he has declared on them, that he will relent or repent of the judgment that he has declared.
Like, that's not what he wants to do.
Mm-mm.
However, people ain't gonna do that. People are not gonna repent en masse and stick with it. That just doesn't happen. So most of the time, his relationship with the other nations is one of just straight judgment.
You use the example. What's the example used again?
The relationship you have with your judge. If you have to go to court for something, the relationship that you have with the judge while you're on trial is basically similar to the relationship the Most High has with the other nations. And we're talking about the nation as a whole. That's basically his relationship with them. It's not the closeness that he has with Israel.
Mm-hmm.
With Israel, he calls us sons. He calls, we
Firstborn.
We're his inheritance.
The apple of his eye.
Yeah, there's marriage terms when he's talking about Israel.
Your husband.
There's fatherly terms when he's talking about Israel. There's also terms of servitude.
Your master.
Yeah, but it's with the other nations, it's not like that. It's strictly either he's judging them for what they did to Israel, he's judging their Elohim. That's what he's doing. He's judging, right? He's basically sitting back, letting them do what they do, and judging. On a side note, for people who, let's say, are not completely in this walk, or you're just curious, maybe you follow the games like Kappa ENT, and you're like, okay, what does this Kaleb guy believe? He always walking around with these strings on. What do he believe? And you found this.
Strings.
Well, that's what they call them. They don't call them Z's. They call them strings. The people always, what's some strings hanging from your pants? That's what they say. So,
Strings.
For those people, sometimes there's a question, especially atheists will ask this question too. If the Most High exists and he's good, why is there so much evil in the world? Right? And Psalms 82 actually answers that question. The Most High essentially has taken a step back, and he's allowing these other beings, and there's a reason why he did this. He essentially is allowing man to be ruled by these other beings. He has a personal relationship with Israel. His relationship with everyone else is not personal like that. He lets them, he manage everything, and then he judges them directly. And when they fail, everybody kind of gets in trouble. So when they fail, they get in trouble, and then the nation they are over gets in trouble as well, because they have to get corrected. In some cases, they got to get totally destroyed.
Because they let it go on for so long.
Because they let it go on. So he really is sitting back and letting everybody make their decisions and have their free will. Israel is the only one that is outside of that. So if you want to...
People don't like that word free will.
Well, I mean, I don't know. That sucks for them. That's just the word. I mean, I don't know what to tell them.
No, I know. I remember I was talking to some atheists, and they were saying free will basically is you have the right to choose anything without the consequences.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, that was the saying that what free will was.
Well, it depends. It also depends on the atheist you're talking to too, because some atheists don't believe in free will because they believe everything is a chemical response. So anything that you do is because of whatever chemicals is going on in your head.
That's a different type of atheist.
Yeah. So.
That's a different type of atheist.
Yeah. So they're coming from more of like a scientific perspective. Yeah. You're talking to somebody that's coming from more of a philosophical.
Yeah.
But that's not accurate.
Yeah.
But I went on that aside because that just answers that question. If you're wondering why the world is like, why does Yah allow these things to happen? He essentially is, again, we'll talk about it later, but in another episode probably, he's taking a step back. He's allowing these other beings to essentially manage, and they're failing in their managerial responsibilities. Yeah.
I said, you are gods or Elohim, sons of the Most High, all of you. Nevertheless, like men you shall die and fall like any prince. Arise, O Elohim, judge the earth, for you shall inherit all nations.
Notice the term "shall inherit all nations."
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, Israel is his inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
He's just kind of allowing the other nations to do what they do, but he does not have that same, I don't want to say jurisdiction, because he actually does, but just the relationship and all of that, he doesn't have that same type of thing with them. So when they do something, he only basically judges. He judges their Elohim. He judges them based on like a lot of people in a whole other nations accountable to keeping the details of Torah, like Pesach and things like that. If they're not Israel,
They're not in
if
covenant.
they're not in the covenant, they're not
gotta do it.
responsible to keeping Pesach.
What was the question? It was something that we talked about. It was sort of like a quote unquote council that they had today.
On TikTok?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was with it was more so messianics that were up there.
Oh, okay.
And they were just having a conversation of like if a goyim, what was the question? Like if they are not, like what are they not obligated to partake of if they're not circumcised?
Well, if we're talking about messianics,
Because they threw the 613 out a lot, and I have a certain thing about the whole 613.
it's not 613, but
Yeah, that's what I go with.
it's
A lot of those things are repeated.
not only are a lot of them repeated. What's his name? Dante Fortson. So I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, but he has some information on where the number 613 comes from. I would look up that video. I think that video was pretty.
Who, Dante Forson?
Yeah, Dante Fortson. Like I said, I don't agree with everything he says. Outside of talking about Israelites, black people in America having an Israelite claim.
But more so, don't they say the 613 is more so of Yahuwah gave them 10, and then they broke them. Then he gave like 603 more.
It's something crazy. Just it does come from like a Jewish thing.
That's how much they counted them, and that's how many
Yeah.
they were. or
Yes,
something like that.
it's a Jewish thing, but it's not something that it's not 613.
But just that was the question I wanted to know, because I'm like, hold on, but if in fact, say the goyim or the Gentile like comes in, but they don't get circumcised, like what are they not?
Well, they can't keep Pesach.
That's it.
That's it. That's really it. So
That's it.
they can't keep Pesach.
But everything else is like
Well, here's the thing, right?
they would have to do.
But here's the thing, because Torah only says they have to be circumcised for Pesach.
Correct.
Right. We also understand that if they're going to go into the covenant, they have to be circumcised because that's a sign of the covenant.
Correct.
Right. Now, when you start looking at, let's say, the way things were being done in Second Temple time period, this is what the Book of Galatians is actually about.
We should do an episode on the Book of Galatians.
We should. What was going on was that, first of all, let's look at it from the traditional Christian view, which is that it's saying that the law is done away with. If you look at it from a traditional Christian view, the Book of Galatians actually has a huge problem in terms of format, because the first 3 chapters and the second 3 chapters actually have nothing to do with each other. If the book is telling you to not keep the law, you don't have to do it anymore because we're under the Mashiach, and it's related to Acts 15, because it is related to Acts 15. Those last 3 chapters are almost disconnected from the rest of the book, if that's what it's about. They're not related because all of a sudden it goes into talking about not Jew nor Gentile,
Sons and heirs.
your sons and heirs. What does any of this have to do with the law and circumcision and what happened at what happened in Acts 15? It's not related if you're looking at it from that perspective.
The one thing you talk about is the example of Hagar and Sarah.
Yeah, like that. That kind of has a relation, but not much, because he is talking about the old law and the new law. Okay, got it. Or the old covenant, new covenant. Got it. Cool. How is that relating? Like, why is he going into all this stuff about Jew nor Gentile and all that? Why is he talking about nationality things if the issue is circumcision in the law, right? What's the connection? The reason why is because at that time there was actually a second temple ceremony that happened that you had to go through, and a process you had to go through to be converted into what we would call Judaism, right? Essentially to get into the covenant according to the way the Pharisees said you had to do it, which was their oral tradition. You had to go through a process that at the end of the process, you got circumcised if you were a man. And if you were not circumcised, you were not considered part of the covenant, right? If you were considered part of the covenant, once you came into the covenant, you were considered justified or made right. That's what it essentially had to do with.
We should look that. Well, we're gonna do a whole episode.
Yeah.
On this. We're gonna get all that information.
But the key, I will say this much: the key is the term "works of the law." You got to understand.
Torah.
You got to understand what that is. That's
Or
not the Torah.
document.
Yeah, that's not the Torah. When it says "works of the law," that's not the Torah. Anytime you see that in Paul's letters, whether it's in there, whether it's in Romans, my brothers, they do things according to the works of the law. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about these additional commandments, these oral traditions of the Pharisees, and in some cases of other groups, because the works of the law differed from group to group. It's never talking about the Torah. That's the key in Galatians that lets you know that whatever Paul is talking about is not Torah. It's not an issue of the actual written law, because the written law says you cannot keep Pesach if you are circumcised, and that you have to be circumcised to enter into the covenant, or not enter into the covenant. It's a sign of the covenant. So essentially that means you're in.
Was it Brit Milah?
Yeah, but it doesn't say getting circumcised itself gets you in the covenant or seals you in the covenant. It just says you need to do it. So you can look at Abraham, for example, because Abraham had a relationship with Yah for years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he wasn't required to circumcise until what? Ishmael was like, what, 15?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was, that's not the understanding of circumcision according to the Torah. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because what Paul's point is that the Mashiach is actually the door to the covenant. He's the one that gets you in the covenant. He's the one that justifies you now, not this act of circumcision.
So check this out. So this is it's called Brit Milah, right? I just typed in Brit Milah convert. So for conversion to Judaism, a Brit Milah is a required step for any man who is not already circumcised. If the man has already been circumcised, a symbolic ceremony called Hataf Dam Brit, a single drop of blood, takes place instead. This ritual, along with other requirements like the Bet Din, which is the panel of rabbis, and the immersion in the mikvah, formulates the convert entry into the Jewish covenant.
Now, notice immersion of water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think people were getting immersed at the time of Mashiach? Where do you think that comes from? They were already doing that. So that is something that, and this kind of goes to show that is something that they were already doing. It's just now, instead of requiring circumcision, you have to accept the Mashiach. But a lot of the framework for this is coming from what's called Second Temple Judaism. That's where the framework for a lot of things are coming from. They didn't make it up.
Yeah, Bet Din.
So that was the issue in Acts 15, and that's what the book of Galatians is about. But again, I bring all that up to say that in that panel, if they're messianics,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because what I'm talking about is coming from messianic information that I researched.
Mm-hmm.
If they're messianics, they should have some level of understanding that the Mashiach is the one that gets you into the covenant.
Correct.
Right.
That was the thing. But we were
So then you have all the same obligations. The only thing that you cannot do if you're not circumcised is Pesach.
yeah. That's what basically what they were trying to get into. But they were more so saying that you're They're not. Some of them were saying that some of the Gentiles were not obligated to do the whole 613. Well, that's what I'm saying. They kept bringing up the 613.
Okay, so here's the next issue, because we don't have a temple, and one thing that I think everybody who believes in the Messiah, whether they're Messianic, Christian, probably not Muslims, but everybody else agrees that the priesthood right now has been moved into Shamayim, right? So all of the laws having to do with the earthly temple, tabernacle, priesthood, those things, at least for now, are parked, retired, whatever word you want to use. Sacrifice for sin, now not the sin sacrifice, which is a type of sacrifice, but the actual act of sacrificing for sin and cleansing that way and transgressions, that appears to be done forever. Free will sacrifices, that sort of thing, will make a return on his return when he
Doesn't Ezekiel talk about that?
well, might be talking about something different.
I think you're right about the prince, but the prince is anyway.
Yeah.
That's another conversation.
Yeah. But no, yeah, if they're in the covenant, all of the laws that we can do, again, outside of the things having to do with the sacrificial system, because they require a temple and they require a priesthood, which we don't have at the moment, earthly priesthood and an earthly temple, which we don't have at the moment, they need to do.
I guess that that even goes into when like why Christians are like and against that as well, because I guess their understanding is that if certain people will say, because even for Israelites, like this 613 is just running around rampant. This 613 is running around, and that's everyone's understanding of the law of Moses. 613, law of Moses, 613. They think it's synonymous. It's synonymous. So the Christian will say, well, no, I'm not obligated to the 613. You as a Jew are, but I'm not, because I'm with Messiah. I just have to do what he says for me to do, right? But then into the Israelite realm and even the Messianic realm to a certain degree,
You got to do the 613.
they'll say you got to do the 613 because the Messiah did it. Like whatever was applicable to him, that's what he did. But then those are kind of extreme ones that they say you got to do all the 613. Well, bro, you can't do all the 613 because all don't apply.
Yeah, they all don't apply to everybody.
Right,
I mean,
so-
I'm a man. I don't have a nida.
But they'll say that you need. No, because I just thought about it now. Was if you have an isha or a wife, then you would, in a sense, follow the Torah concerning nidah.
Correct.
Right. But if you don't, then I don't have a wife, then I don't need to follow it.
Yeah, it doesn't apply.
This has nothing to do with me.
So, but it's the same thing with the temple. A lot of those cleanliness laws, they require a temple. They require
Nidah is which is on her menstrual
Period.
Her period, the time
Yeah.
of the month.
So, like a lot of the cleanliness laws, they require a temple because if you were unclean, you couldn't enter the temple.
Correct.
You couldn't enter the tabernacle. You couldn't enter what's called, anybody follows scholarly work, what's called sacred space, right? Now, of course, that's not talking about unclean foods and to a degree, it is talking about unclean sexual acts, but
Well, yeah, because if there was an emission,
yeah, you couldn't go in.
You couldn't go into the temple. You
Couldn't
had to
go in.
clean yourself. You had to be unclean until evening, and then the next day you'd be straight.
Yeah. So a lot of that cleanliness and uncleanness is not talking about germs and bacteria. I know we want to think that, and a lot of us try to superimpose that on the text. It's not what it's talking about, because vomit is never mentioned. Things coming from other body parts and other fluids is never mentioned, and you would think
The only thing
that would be
the
mentioned.
only thing that is not really mentioned is vomiting, getting a cut, urination, and defecation.
defecation is mentioned.
Well, if I defecate, I'm not clean. I'm not dirty, and I have to wash and clean until evening. I can't go into the temple.
Well, no, but defecation, because you got to remember the wars, a lot of times they were fighting were considered set apart.
Yeah.
And he was considered in their midst because they were fighting these wars.
That was
Yeah.
that was just nasty. You
Yeah.
don't want no nothing stank up in the camp.
But you do know people did that back in those days, right?
Yeah, I know they did.
Yeah.
We see in the Middle Ages.
Well, the Middle Ages is totally different.
But I'm just
They would just
saying.
throw it out the window, Lou, and just splashing it on people's heads. And y'all think I'm joking? They actually did that.
Yeah. That's the bubonic plague, the Black Plague.
Yeah.
Like that was a big huge thing because of all them rats and stuff like that. But they was just nasty.
Yeah, they were disgusting.
People were just nasty.
But all that to say, a lot of times that's not now. The fact that it does end up coinciding a lot of times with health-related things,
Cleanliness and stuff.
and that is one of Yah's many amazing miracles. But that's not the point. It has to do with being unclean to enter the temple and to enter into His presence in the capacity that it was supposed to be at in the temple. And without a temple and without a place to actually meet Him physically on a regular basis like that, then a lot of those laws that pertain to that kind of have no function anymore. Now, of course, there are still some that still do apply because we are the temple now. So clean eating would be one for that reason. But yeah, so for Christians, that's another issue. They don't have that understanding that some of these laws that they like to bring up aren't applicable today because we don't have it. The literal lack of a temple and tabernacle, even though we are the temple and tabernacle now, but even then that has a meaning. But even if we look at it from that perspective, some of them you still need a physical building, and without a physical building and without a priesthood, those laws have no function. They have no purpose. They just can't be done. So there's that, and then again the numbering is just not. Yeah.
So someone even said, "All right, you saying you ain't got to keep the 613? Oh, that's a burden. That's a
Yeah, that's what Christians say.
But then they said, well, look up how many laws are on the New Testament. Over 1,000.
Yeah.
So it's even worse for you. It's even worse.
But here's the other thing too.
But that's just.
But here's the other thing.
That's what people say, right?
If 613 laws are a burden, right? Number one, the United States of America has a whole lot of stuff. So you have federal laws, you have state laws, and you have your local laws.
County.
And county laws in some cases if you live in a county. And in some of these different areas, if you look up all the laws pertaining to alcohol, pertaining to drugs, marriage, how to run a business.
Really how to run a business. Business law is crazy.
Yeah, business law is a whole nother beast. Traffic laws, all these laws. You're looking at over 1 million laws that govern you right now. You don't even know them all. And in fact, popular law, a lot of the laws you think you know, you actually don't know.
I'm going to give an example. I'm going to give an example of a law that I did not know. I was not taught this. My first driving ticket, I was taking myself and my.
I was going to crack a joke, but go ahead.
Oh my gosh! I was taking it was my first. This is my first. This is when it went downhill for me. Now we good now. We good now. Hallelujah.
We good now? Go ahead.
We good. We good now.
Go ahead.
Baruch Hashem Yahuwah. You feel me? So my first one, I was driving. Me and my god brother. We were going.
Go ahead.
We were going to school. We was at the same school at the time, and this street was 40 miles per hour. Of course, when the lights are flashing, it's 25. That's what it tells you, right? School zone, 25 when flashing. Well, if it ain't flashing, I'm going 40. I got pulled over because I was going 40 in a 25. Go to the judge, right? Went and did all that. The cop asked the judge, well, the judge asked the cop, was the lights flashing? The cop said no. What time of the day was it? Oh, it was around like 7, 8 o'clock. Okay, that's a ticket. I did not know that I could not be speeding or going 45 miles per hour during that particular time of day. Because the rules tell me 25 miles per hour
When it's flashing.
when it's flashing. But that was a rule that obviously they knew about. But I didn't. So, hey, that's you know, it's a story because you brought that up that you don't even know about. Rules don't even know about. Some people don't even know that. Yeah. They can pull you over even if you you doing what the law says. That what you know what the law says. 40, boom. Don't give me no time. Don't give me nothing. Hey, if these lights ain't flashing, I'm supposed to go this speed limit. I'm going 40. Nah. Cause you didn't realize what time of the day it was, and therefore you should have known to go 25 miles per hour.
Oh, and
That's what?
yeah, and in the
I
United
think I was like 16 or 17 at the time.
And in the United States, you have what are called unenforced laws. So they're laws that exist, but you won't get in trouble for them. But let's say you get
unspoken, unwritten
But let's
rules.
say you get in trouble for something else, and they really want to hem you up. They'll bring these other laws that haven't been enforced. Now they'll enforce them, and they'll hem you up for a bunch of stuff.
Oh, that's an example.
Yeah.
We got an example of that. Now in where we at, can we say where we at?
Virginia.
Okay, cool. We in Virginia. You can have dark tint on your car now.
That's one.
You can have dark tint on your car now, right?
No, it's still illegal.
It's still illegal, but they're not gonna pull you over for it. But let's just say, you know, you're speeding. They're gonna get you for that, and let's just say you have that 5% tint up there. They're gonna add on that on top of it. They're gonna say, oh yeah, your tint is too dark.
Yeah.
They're gonna get you for that too. Like,
Here's another one.
that joke crazy.
Here's another one. It is still illegal in Virginia for a man to another man, right? There was
To fight him?
no to
Oh, you talking about
yeah.
the S word.
Yeah.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, it's still illegal, right? So there was
that's illegal.
there was a guy who he was a high school principal.
When is that legal?
But hold on, well, we're talking about the United States. It's legal in the United States.
Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yes. But it's still
No.
illegal in Virginia.
I'm talking about Sodom and Gomorrah in terms of the forceful aspect of it.
No, not the forceful.
Okay, you just saying
the act.
The act.
The
Okay,
act.
I got you.
So there was a guy who was a principal who got caught messing with a male student.
Yeah.
So even though this law is not enforced ever, they wanted to get him. They brought that law up. That law is not enforced. If two dudes were walking around and you could clearly see what they were on, nobody would do anything. But they wanted to really get that principal because he got caught with a student.
Yeah.
So they added that law on top. It's a lot of stuff like that. And we live in a country that's full of stuff like that, and nobody bats an eye. Even if 613 is the number, considering the fact that most of them don't apply to you, a lot of them can't even be done outside of the land of Israel. You have to be in the land of Israel to do them. And then you need a temple with a priesthood, and we don't have that. What does that actually leave? Feast days and dietary laws. If we really stop and think about it, that's what we're fighting over. That's what Christians are just so adamant about not doing.
They want to eat what they want.
Feast days.
And celebrate their own holidays.
Feast days and dietary laws. That's all that's left. Everything else we pretty much agree on. I can't even, everything else I can think of. There might be some Christians that might have some issues on certain things, but for the most part, feast days and dietary laws. So, yeah.
So, I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy. I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy 30 real quick,
Mm-hmm.
cause people think like these like Yahuwah's commandments are like a burden, and they're like a yoke of bondage. Um, and that's so far from the truth. So far from the truth.
Got to understand Paul in context because Paul is saying some very specific things.
Because if you say, I'll put it like this: if your doctrine or understanding, or if the doctrine or understanding that you hold, put it like that, the doctrine or understanding that you hold, right? I'm not trying to go at you. I'm talking about the doctrine and the understanding that you hold is that these laws were way too hard. And that's why they couldn't do it, because they were just so difficult. They were just such a yoke on them. They were just so, it was, it was so meticulous, and it was just so hard, and there was no freedom in it. If you get that if that is what is being taken from Shaul, from Paul, how can I say this?
Have you actually read Torah and read the laws yourself to see if that actually is the case?
That's one thing to say. But I'm gonna just read this. Deuteronomy 30. I'm starting at verse 9. For Yahuwah your Elohim will make you abundantly prosperous in all the work of your hands, and the fruit of your womb, and the fruit of your cattle, and the fruit of your ground. For Yahuwah will again take delight in to prosper you, as he took delight in your fathers, when you obey the voice of Yahuwah your Elohim to keep his commandments, his statutes that are written in this book of the law, when you turn to your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. Didn't the Messiah say the greatest commandment is to love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul? How do you do that? When you turn to Yahuwah with all your heart and with all your soul, by keeping his commandments and his statutes. For this commandment that I command you today is not too hard for you, neither is it far off. It's not in the heaven that someone should say, who will ascend to heaven for us and to bring it to us that we may hear and do it? Neither is it beyond the sea that you should say, well, who will go over the sea for us to bring it to us that we may hear it? But the word is very near to you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, so that you can do it.
I want to add another part to that because some people might say, yeah, that was for that time. Okay.
Oh, dispensation?
Yeah, hold on. No. When he's talking to them, he's saying, oh, well, that part that you will love Yahuwah that was for that time. That's how you love Yahuwah then. Okay. So let's parse this out. First of all, if you want to say it's a time thing, if that right there is saying it's not hard to do, right, and that it's possible to do and that it's not too hard, then if it wasn't that hard then, it definitely isn't that hard now that we have a lot of things that don't even apply to us, right? And that was back then when a lot of it applied to the average person. A lot of it does not apply to the average person today. So we had that part. Then you have the part where you say, okay, well, that was before the Messiah came. So that's how you love him then. We don't love him like that today. We're not required to keep the law to love him today. Okay, cool. So how do you love him? Show me in the New Testament. Once you accept the Messiah, show me in the New Testament the actions that are required to love him. Every single time you see an action that is mentioned in the New Testament that is required to show love of Yah, you can find it in the Torah. And a lot of times, the New Testament, what?
Sorry, go ahead. I'm about to read this real quick.
The New Testament, a lot of times, it's giving you, I don't want to say feelings. What's the word I'm looking for? Because it's not that it's broad, but it's not giving you the instruction. It's just giving you the overall, I don't want to say emotion behind it. So like love, peace,
The fruits of the Ruach.
the fruits of the Ruach, but also, malice. We don't show malice. It's giving you that type of thing. But even if you want to say, okay, well, we don't have malice. Well, what does that actually look like? Because what you might think something is not, doesn't have malice. And then I'm like, well, that actually was full of malice to me. Or something else. You might do something like a lot of people say, oh, it's love. Well, you might do something and you think it's love. I don't think it's love. A perfect example of that and I'll let you say what you got to say. A lot of people today have a view of love that is essentially I'm going to let you do and be fully supportive in anything that makes you happy.
That's agape.
No, that's
the unconditional love.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
It's just the idea that I'm going to support whatever you think makes you happy in the moment, right? If this thing makes you happy, I'm gonna support you fully. I don't believe that's love, because if the thing that makes you happy in the moment is something that might kill you in 30 years, even if you do it once, I'm not going to support you doing that. I'm going to do everything in my power for you not to do it because I love you. Yeah. Right? So the way you express love and the way I express love is totally different. Completely and totally different. But if we're going to go with your view that, hey, the command is just to love your neighbor, technically, we both are keeping the command, even though the way we're doing it and the outcome is completely different. So they both can't be right. So which one actually is love and which one actually isn't? You need something to tell you which one it is. Otherwise, it's going to be just your opinion. Go ahead and say what you guys say.
Yo, I'm about to. Hold on.
I mean, you reading it while we on the podcast.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
The people are waiting.
My bad. My bad. I saw something crazy. Anyway, this is Romans 10. Starting at verse 5. For Moses writes about the righteousness that is based on the law, that the person who does the commandments shall live by them. But the righteousness based on faith says, do not say in your heart, who will ascend to heaven, that is, to bring Mashiach down, or who will descend to the abyss, that is, to bring Mashiach up from the dead. But what does it say? The word is near to you, in your mouth, in your heart, that is, the word of belief that we proclaim. Because if you confess with your mouth that Yahushua is master, and believe in your heart that Elohim raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. For scripture says, everyone who believes on him shall not be put to shame. So then he talks about distinction. But he uses this to show that it's all based upon belief. If you believe that Yahushua is master, right? Cool. Saved, sanctified, delivered. If you believe that you have been cleansed from your sins, and you believe that his ways, his Torah, shows you the correct way to live and to walk in the righteousness that he has given you, it's not too hard for you. It's not a burden for you. It's perfect. It converts your being, it converts the soul.
Now, I will add one caveat.
Okay.
But this is a caveat for anything. This is not unique to Torah. Mm. If you have been living life not doing Torah, changing over to a Torah-based lifestyle is going to challenge you. And it might feel like a burden.
Yeah.
It
okay.
Keyword.
Okay. Yeah.
Feel like a burden.
Because you're fighting against your old ways.
You're fighting against your old ways. But again, that's with anything. That's with any habit. That's like
if you're trying to go to the gym.
Yeah, if you're trying to go to the gym, if you're trying to learn how to fight, or you know one way to fight, and you're trying to learn a new way to fight, you're gonna have to. It's gonna be difficult.
It's a learning curve.
It's a learning curve. So that's with anything. That is not unique to Torah. So anybody that tells you that that's the case, I mean, even if you want to convert to just regular Christian doctrine and Christian ways of doing things,
from being an atheist,
from being a full-blown atheist,
or for being a Muslim,
to being a Christian, even then you're gonna have the same struggle.
Yes,
that's not unique to Torah.
Yeah,
so that's not a
unless you're a Christian that believes you can do anything you want to and still be saved. then you cooked. Straight up. Now, here's the other thing, right? Under the law. I asked this person the other day, what does under the law mean? They said, under the law.
Okay.
You just described. When I asked you what is a table, and you said
It's a table.
it's a table. Okay. All right. So clearly you don't know what under the law means. All right. Ask another person. What does under the law mean? They said under the law of Moses. Okay. Well, where can you go, for that? They use where it said Yahusha was born of a woman, made under the law.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they said he was made under the law of Moses. I said, okay. I understand where you're going with that, but let's see what Shaul means when it says, like, because how they use it is, I'm not under the law, I'm under grace.
And they're getting that from Romans.
From Romans 6.
Yeah.
So we're going to read it real quick. I already got it right here.
Good. Go ahead.
Romans 6, starting at verse 12. So when somebody asks you, or you are looking, or you're saying, or somebody asks you, or you ask somebody, what does under the law mean? This is the definition for it. Romans 6, starting at verse 12. Let not sin, therefore, reign in your mortal bodies to make you obey its passions. Do not present your members to sin as instruments for unrighteousness, but present yourselves to Elohim as those who have been brought back from death to life, and your members to Elohim as instruments for righteousness. For sin will have no dominion over you, since you are not under the law, but under favor. So to be under the law means to have sin reign or have dominion over you. Can we keep going? I'm going to just finish up this whole thing. What then? Are we to sin because we are not under the law, but under favor? Absolutely not. Do you not know that if you present yourselves to anyone as obedient slaves or obedient servants, you are a servant to the one who you obey, either of sin, which leads to unalive and leads to death, or of obedience, which leads to righteousness? What are you obeying? We can get to that.
Yeah.
Hold on, we can get to that.
Go ahead.
But thanks be to Elohim that you were once slaves to sin and became obedient from the heart to the standard of teaching to which you were committed. And having been set free from sin, having become now servants of righteousness, servants of righteousness. Pause right there. All right, I'm speaking to you in human terms because of your natural limitations. I'm going to dumb this down for you real quick. For just as you once presented your members as slaves to impurity and to lawlessness, leading to more lawlessness, key. So now present your members as slaves to righteousness, leading to sanctification. Sanctify them by your word, for your word is truth. The sum of your word is truth. Your law is truth. For when you were slaves of sin, you were free regarding to righteousness, because you was in lawlessness. But what fruit were you getting from that? From the things which you are now ashamed? For the end of those things is death. But now that you have been set free from sin and have become slaves of Elohim, the fruit you get leads to sanctification and its end, eternal life. For the wages of sin is death, but the free gift of Elohim is eternal life in Yahushua HaMashiach, our master.
So to be more specific about the term under the law, when you do see the term, because you only appears in certain books. So Romans, it appears 4 times. Corinthians, it appears 4 times, all in the same verse. In Galatians, it appears 6 times, twice in the same.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it actually doesn't appear that much. It only appears in those 3 books.
That seems like a lot already, though. That does seem a lot. And those 3 books, you said Romans, how many times did it appear?
4.
4 times, and you said in
But
Corinthians-
2 of them are in 6:14 and 6:15, right? So here's the interesting thing, because everybody likes to go to Romans 6. Romans 2 says, "For all who have sinned without the law will perish without the law, and all who have sinned under the law will be judged by the law." Okay.
Okay.
Then Romans 3:19 says, "Now we know that whatever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, that every mouth may be stopped and all the world may become guilty before Elohim." And then, of course, you read 6:14, 6:15. 9:20 is kind of, like I said, it has a lot of things. So it says, "To the Jews, I became as a Jew in order to win Jews. To those who are under the law, I became as one under the law."
Hold on, real quick. That was
1 Corinthians 9:20.
I became a Jew to those under the law.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me read this particular version.
Okay.
1 Corinthians. That's 1 Corinthians what?
9:20. What version are you reading?
The complete Jewish Bible.
Okay.
That is, with the Jews, what I did was put myself in the position of the Jew in order to win the Jews with people in subjection to the legalistic perversion of the Torah. I put myself in the position of someone under such legalism in order to win those under this legalism, even though I myself am not subject to the legalistic perversion of the Torah.
I was going to get there because then you go to Galatians. 3:10 actually doesn't say that. So this that I pulled up is inaccurate. 3:23 says, "But before faith came, we were held captive under the law."
See Galatians 3:10?
3:23. "Before faith came, we were held captive under the law." We already talked about what Galatians is talking about. "Imprisoned until the coming faith would be revealed." Then Galatians 4:4 and 5 says, mentions being born under the law, and those redeemed under the law.
Galatians 3:23, right?
3:23.
Listen to what it says. "Now, before the time of this trusting faithfulness came, we were imprisoned in subjection to the system which results from perverting the Torah into legalism, kept under guard until this yet to come, the trusting faithfulness be revealed." It's all about the perversion of Torah.
Essentially, the works of law, Ma'aseh HaTorah that we were talking about, and being under the law, that's what you're under. It's that.
Legalism. The perversion of the legalism.
Here's the thing. It is not a sin to create additional rules and commandments. That in and of itself is not a sin. The sin is when you take those additional commandments and add them to the Torah itself and then try to make it equal to the Torah. That's the sin.
Let's go to an example of that. Matthew 15. Matthew 15, starting in verse 1. "Then there came Yahusha, scribes and Pharisees from Jerusalem, saying, 'Why do your taught ones transgress the traditions of the elders? For they do not wash their hands when they eat bread.' But he, Yahusha, answered and said, 'Why do you transgress the command of Elohim because of your tradition? For Elohim has commanded, respect your father and your mother, and honor, and he who curses father and mother is to be put to death. But you say,'" you,
All y'all.
"'whoever says to his father and mother, whatever profit I might have received from you has been dedicated. It's been dedicated to Elohim. It's certainly released from respecting the father or the mother. So you have nullified or made void, or in a sense really spat on, the command of Elohim by your traditions. You hypocrites. Yeshayahu or Isaiah truly prophesied about you, saying, this people draw near to me with their mouth and respect me with their lips, but their hearts is far from me. But in vain, for nothingness, for worthlessness, do they worship me, teaching as teaching the commands of men." Under the law, the perversion of the Torah into legalism. But yeah, that was dang, how did we get here?
Back to our friend Sam Shimon.
How did we get here?
Yeah, we were rambling.
How did we get here?
Back to our friend Sam Shimon. Yeah, all that to say that going back to that point, if however long ago, you might want to put chapters in this one, Aki.
I ain't putting no chapters. We just gonna run with it.
Nah, you might want to put chapters in
That
this
ain't
video.
gonna happen because I don't know how to do it.
It's not hard.
Oh, for real?
I'll tell you how to do it. It's real easy.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
But going back to what they said, I think Nassim Black and Sam Shimon both are correct, and they both are incorrect at the same time. Because Sam Shimon, first of all, Nassim Black was reacting to Sam Shimon. So Sam Shimon had no idea what Nassim Black was saying. And really his question was PBD, Patrick Bet David, asked him about his thought about the Assyrians. Because I believe he's Assyrian too.
They both Assyrians.
They're both Assyrian.
Assyria, my people?
Yeah. But they're both Assyrian. So he was asking him about his thoughts
Of them as a nation.
of them as a nation. So Sam Shimon tried to give a biblical answer. And the answer that Sam Shimon essentially gave, which was a little strange why he went this direction, is that the Most High has always cared and loved everybody. And that it did sound like he was saying this idea that Yah only cares about Israel is not true. I do agree that it's not true that the Most High only loves Israel. The Torah never says that. The Tanakh never says that. But he does have a very special relationship with Israel that he does not have with everyone else.
Israel's his firstborn.
And he has a covenant, which means he has obligations to Israel that he does not have with the other nations. Nassim Black is correct in that aspect. And Nassim Black even agrees with Sam Shimon to a point. And the same point that he agrees with is the point we agree with him on, is that yes, he doesn't want to destroy nations. Yes, he would rather other nations repent, but he does have a special relationship with Israel. That's not going anywhere. Now, to add that to that, me and Yuka said have got plenty of flack because we have no problem saying that individuals from the nations, Gentiles, can be grafted into Israel. We stand by that. So don't even come up here talking about some, well, how can y'all say that, but y'all said in the past. We are making a distinction between individuals and the entire nation. If you come up here, he's the one that argue with you. I'm not about to argue with with this foolishness. Do not DM me talking about something. How are you going to say? I'm going to block you immediately. I'm not playing. I just said what it is. Do not message me on this foolishness. That's him that likes to do that back and forth stuff. Do not do that with me. I'm going to say it one last time. Individuals can be grafted into Israel. We're not talking about the whole nation because the scripture itself never mentions whole nations. It only mentions individuals being grafted in. That's it. Now, can a whole nation of individuals be grafted in? Sure, possibly. But that has never happened. Okay? So don't sit around here and ask me a question about something that ain't never happened. Individuals can be grafted in.
And I think that's the issue. The issue is y'all not listening to the conversation
At all. At all. Like, listen to what we saying.
The issue is you're not listening to the conversation. You're not. You have a preconceived notion and mindset, and you got your notes ready to just try to debunk the whole entire thing, bro. I'm not talking about the entire nation of Edom. I'm not talking about the entire nation of Assyria. I'm not talking about the entire nation of Moab. But do I see, quote unquote, Kaleb,
Not me.
the Kenizzite, being engrafted? I do. Do I see Ruth?
Who has a book named after her?
Do I see Ruth, the Moabite, being engrafted? I do. But do I see the entire nation of Moab being engrafted? I don't. So, excuse me. So I get it. He dealing with nations. He dealing with nations as a whole. Well, to a certain degree, yeah, he does deal with the whole entire nation. But the nation is a combination of people, of individuals. So he already said he's gonna weave out the rebellious. 2/3 are gonna be cut off. Is that the whole entire nation or individuals?
A lot of individuals.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Your doctrine says 2/3 gonna be cut off. 2/3 of the nation. 2/3 of these individuals are gonna get cut off. So that's what we're saying. Follow the conversation. If we're talking about individuals, keep it at individuals. Don't just throw the whole nation up there because you mad at the nation.
Especially when I say, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Just in terms of for that specific conversation, right? Right.
Have it with him.
For that specific,
Have it
for
with
that
him.
specific conversation, it's even getting to a point to where I'm starting to. I don't really like to have these conversations anymore because there's a lot of pride and foolishness that goes into these conversations. Sometimes it's hard to have a cordial conversation and to break down something when people think they know everything and they don't know nothing. I'm not saying I know everything. We're not saying that we know everything. There are scriptures that talk about these things. There are
Let's say them very plainly.
historical texts that talk about these things.
I also say it very plainly.
Like, for example, I asked a question. When it says circumcision and uncircumcision, who is that? Oh, circumcision is the southern kingdom. Uncircumcision is the northern kingdom. How do you know? Aren't Gentiles uncircumcised? Yeah, but you saying that the circumcision, the uncircumcision is just the Gentiles. I'm not saying that at all. I will give that to you. I will give that to you if you want to say the northern kingdom, they going in the ways of the Gentiles, they're called Gentiles. I'll give it to you. Cool.
I ain't giving you nothing.
I will give it to you. My question is, when a Gentile, northern kingdom, right? Let's just say they're a Gentile. Cool. Because they're not following the laws, they're uncircumcised, cool. When they get circumcised, what are they called? In that Ephesians 2, they're called a Jew. They're not still called a Gentile or the uncircumcision. So we see this is a colloquial term that is being used in a broad sense to identify if you're circumcised, you're a Jew. If you're uncircumcised, you're everybody else. You're everybody else. So you can look at basically for what it says. You can go to Josephus to look these things up. Like, I know some of y'all don't like Josephus. Oh, he's a traitor, this, that, and the other. He's an historian. He's an historian. I won't say that he's a traitor.
He records information that's necessary and important. So
I would never say that he's a traitor because I don't know that aspect, right? You know, they say, oh, he recorded for the Romans and da-da-da-da-da, this, that.
But if he didn't record for the Romans, we wouldn't have the information.
Exactly. And for what I understand, he actually tried to hide.
He did.
He tried to hide and he got captured. So instead of being unalived, he said, all right, I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. Because why? He was educated. They saw value in him. And in that aspect, praise Yahuwah for it, because we got some history concerning our people.
It's a lot of stuff Josephus says that we wouldn't know
We would have no idea.
He's the only one who writes down a lot of the stuff that he writes down.
So,
or he's not the only. Well, there's some things he's not the only person, but he gives more details.
Right.
Like a perfect example, what happened at the temple when Yahuwah literally left the temple.
Who else gives that?
Tacitus.
Right,
Tacitus.
He did that too. He's a second witness concerning
He's a secular. But the issue with Tacitus is Tacitus, because he's hearing it from the Latin and he's hearing it from the way the Romans heard it, some of his understanding and interpretation
is different.
So
you would look at it like, man, he didn't really know what he's talking about. He's a Gentile. So on top of that, you won't even take what he says because he's a Gentile. It's like a lose-lose situation. So all we're saying is that we all need to be humble. We all need to be humble. Just ask Yahuwah to help us with with humility, to remove pride, arrogance, and haughtiness far away from us. Because if you have that, bruh, he not gonna deal with you. He's not. He shows favor to the humble and he resists the proud. He'll even mock you.
He'll set you up and then mock you.
Bro, y'all, hold on. Y'all must not think Yahuwah is petty.
I wouldn't say petty.
I
wouldn't say petty.
He be doing some petty stuff.
I wouldn't say petty.
I'm saying petty because we be doing petty stuff. Where do you think we get it from? We get it from Dad.
I wouldn't say petty.
He be doing stuff to set you up just to be like.
Yeah,
I'm only saying that for the simple fact that you can understand it because of how you're acting, of what you're doing. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and allow you to. I warned you. I tried to let you do. I'm gonna allow you to do it, and then I'm gonna wait for you to cry out to me, and I'm gonna sit there and look at you and not say nothing to let you know. No. Go ahead and call on your Elohim. Go ahead and do that.
Yeah, what happened to that?
See if they answer.
Yeah, what happened to the Elohim that you was worshiping the other time? What happened to them? Cry out to them.
What Elijah say? Hey, maybe he on vacation. Call him real quick. Maybe he's asleep. Wake him up.
Maybe he's using the bathroom. That's crazy.
Bro, don't play with him, cuz. Don't play with him. Like for real. Okay, I'm gonna land with that. I'm gonna land with that for real. I'm gonna land with that. It's time to end this episode.
Yeah, because we've just been talking. So this ended up being an accidental. Let's talk about it. Yeah, I don't know how we're gonna close this because we just been talking.
I mean, for real. This kind of all started with one person, both people being right, but in presentation they were wrong.
Well, I wouldn't say that because San Shimon did say some stuff that was wrong too.
Oh, well, daggone it.
Yeah, he did say some things that were wrong, but I wanted to focus. What I was hoping to do was focus more so on the things he said right first, and then we can deal with the incorrect things. Because most of the things he did incorrect is just taking stuff out of context, which if you're familiar with Sam Shimon, you've listened to him, then you know he does that a lot.
I mean, we kind of did do that to a certain degree. Like, we did show that, yes. Well, I mean, Shaul even does say to his point that isn't he let's end with that part where Shaul says, isn't he the Elohim of the Gentiles too? He says, but now the righteousness of Elohim has been manifested apart from the law. Although the law and the prophets bear witness to it that the righteousness of Elohim through belief in Yahushua HaMashiach for all who believe. For there is no distinction, for all have sinned and fell short of the esteem of Elohim, and are justified by his favor as a gift, through the redemption that is in Yahushua HaMashiach. So that's one big thing, is that we're not pushing that the law redeems you. The law is your salvation. We ain't saying that at all. The law does not save you. It was never made to save you. Yahuwah is the one that saved you. He's your savior.
They got the law after they were saved from Egypt.
Correct.
So they got the law after they accepted the covenant. The law is what is expected of you inside of the covenant.
It's your guideline.
That is what we say.
It's your instruction on how to live.
It is what is expected of you inside the covenant.
It's your border.
Being in the covenant, which is the relationship with the Most High through his Son, is the way you get saved. Since you are saved, this is the expectation.
Correct.
Now, I understand some people are going to say, well, on one hand, on the Israelite side, they're going to say, well, it says you will be saved. I understand that. I'm just using this terminology. And then on the Christian side, they're going to say, well, no, Jesus saved you. Okay, I get it.
We're sealed.
We got you. What we're saying is that now that you're saved, this is the expectation.
Right. I even asked somebody, I said, that you're saved now, like, how do you live?
Mm-hmm.
What do you live by? Like, well, I'd be led by the Holy Spirit and by Jesus. Okay, cool. And so tell me, like, what that is.
What does that look like?
What does that look like? Like, show me something, right? So that's just, one thing for food for thought. Whom Elohim put forward as appropriation by his blood to be received by belief. This was to show Elohim's righteousness because in his divine forbearance he has passed over former sins. It was to show his righteousness at the present time so that he might be just and the justifier of the one that has belief in Yahusha, then what becomes of our boasting? It is excluded. By what kind of law? By the law of works? No, but the law of belief. For we hold that one is justified by belief apart from the works of the law. Once again, the works of the law. Or is Elohim the Elohim of the Jews only, of the Yahudim only? Is he not the Elohim of the Gentiles also? Yes, the Gentiles also. Since Elohim is one who will justify the circumcised by belief and the uncircumcised through belief. Do we then overthrow the law by this belief? Absolutely not.
That says a lot.
By no means. On the contrary,
We established.
we I'm not even gonna say that. We uphold the law. That's Romans 3, man. So one thing I land with this, right? When we read in these epistles concerning Shaul, we gotta read the whole thing.
And you got to know
Right.
what he's talking about.
Yes. But even in these things, he'll explain what he's talking about. If you read to the end, he'll explain it. And sometimes he might not explain it in that particular quote unquote chapter. You might have to go on to the next chapter because it's one whole letter, depending on, how it's being laid out to get the understanding, to get to the point of what he's saying. Right. So I'll say that.
You can't definitely just quote one verse with Paul. Because first of all, chapters and verses, and I think we said this before, were added later.
Mm-hmm.
So these chapters and verses do not neatly divide up the sentence. Sometimes a verse will start in the middle of a sentence. And some of these verses that Paul speaks, because he was a Middle Easterner, are run-on sentences. He has this man. You can go look it up yourself and read some of his verses, some of his books. The sentence be like 10 verses long. You can't just go with one verse, right? Because you'll miss what he's saying. You have to read Paul's whole, and you gotta know what he's talking about. You gotta remember these are letters. So he wrote these letters to people. Some of these letters are return letters, and we don't have the original letter. You got to know what he's talking about. Who is he writing to? What are these terms that he's using? He was an educated man, educated in, for lack of a better word, Second Temple Judaism, right? So when he's saying certain things, he's speaking as a Pharisee. The way he teaches and write his letters, you can read other Second Temple books or other Second Temple sermons, and the way the Pharisees taught, they spoke like Paul, right? I'm not saying exactly like Paul, but I'm just saying the way they did things, how they would go to the Tanakh and use a verse, and the way they applied that verse is not at all what the context was, because they were reapplying the verse. They weren't taking it out of context. They were reapplying it. There's a difference. Paul does this all the time, and you got to know what Paul is doing. You got to understand Paul. The fact that Paul is the only person in the entire Bible who has a warning label saying you can misinterpret his letters if you don't know the Tanakh, and if you don't know the word, you can misinterpret his letters, that says a lot. So, yeah, but we talked about a lot. We went all over the place. I'm pretty sure it's a 2-hour episode, so you might have to split this up into 2 parts too.
Yeah, probably not gonna do that, but
We also did spend about 10 minutes talking about Sam Shimon and that whole experience.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, so pray this episode was edifying, to you. Prior to, or no, actually post the Sam Shimon Nissan Black, when we actually started to actually talk about certain things concerning Shaul and trying to break him down and everything like that. Like I said, we definitely should do an episode on Galatians.
On Paul in general.
Well, yeah, Shaul
On
in
Paul
general.
in general.
Pray that you got some, little nuggets here and there in terms of what does it mean to be under the law. Also in terms of Yahuwah being the Elohim of Israel, and also the B'nai Elohim, or the sons of Elohim, or the angels of God, quote unquote, ruling over the other nations. And
We got to go into more detail about them too in another
Yeah.
episode. Talk about what's going on there.
Yeah, we'll get into some extra books as well. But anyway, pray this episode was edifying, that Yahuwah baruch you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor unto you. Yahuwah lift up his face towards you and give you shalom. Thus you should put my name on the children of Yashar'al, and I myself shall baruch them. In the name of Yahushua, we say shalom.
Shalom.
Check.